My name is Preetika Rajgariah, and this show is called Wild Wild Country. I am interested in the sacred and spiritual practice of yoga that's rooted in Hinduism and goes back thousands of years, and how it has been co-opted, and how capitalism and these other factors have kind of reappropriated it in the North American landscape. I was really excited to have this show in Austin. This was all work that I made specifically for this space. Because Austin has such a big yoga culture associated with it, I thought this would be really important to start this conversation of not like who can practice yoga. I think it should be, of course, practiced by anyone and everyone, but the way that it has been extracted from South Asian culture and spirituality, and the way where it has completely like 180'd into something that's like very athletic, it's very goal-oriented, it's also very capitalist. So there's a lot of like ways in which it is practiced in the West and in America that is just completely not, it's completely like hypocritical to the way it is intentionally meant to be. Yoga is not a teachable thing. It's not something that can be attained. It's not something that you can like get to level 10 and you're a yogi now and you can teach it now and you're a master. I mean, it's a lifelong process. And I think we have, in this country, really lost sight of what it's really about. I started screenshotting my Instagram feed because I kept getting ads about yoga and yoga classes. I ended up cutting out over 200 ads. And it was really interesting because out of 250 or so images of people practicing yoga, maybe 3 of them were of African American descent, and I think 1 person of Indian descent. So this is interesting. There's been a total erasure of the body from which this practice roots, which would be a South Asian body. There's been a complete erasure of that. So in these ads, I actually erased all the bodies that were present. The parts of the body that I kept cutting out was typically like feet at the ends of yoga pants, or midsections that were cropped out like between the sports bra and a pant or something, and heads. So there was a lot of decapitation involved in like altering these ads. And really intuitively, I wanted to explore my own body, doing a headstand and capturing it from different angles. So I made a 3-channel video titled Core Values that depicts my head in my hands, my feet, and my midsection. It came out of, I think, cropping these bodies from these ads, but also putting my brown body back in the space in a very big, loud way with the video. In the performance Waiting to Exhale, which happened at the opening, I laid down in child's pose, a relaxing, typically a time to pause and regain your breath. And I actually had the audience collaborate in the performance. What they did was every time 30 seconds passed, they laid a mat on top of me, and so the audience participated in kind of this collection of weight, but also collection of material of the European yoga mat, just like kind of covering up my body. My breath was recorded and played in the whole space. So the sound of my breath kind of escalating and getting a little more heavy as the mats kept piling on was also reverberating in the space. I think it's important to note the formation of the mats that are on the ground, and that's in a swastik position, which is like a spiritual sign of good fortune. That sign, that symbol has been, co-opted by different groups of people along history. So I'm starting with that on the bottom of all the mats. Yoga mats were a European creation in and of themselves in the 90s. If you go to India, people don't have yoga mats. They don't have like these yogic accessories, so to speak. It is a material that's already not native. What you see in the gallery now is pretty much a performance aftermath. So the ceramic hands are a stand-in for my own body. It might take you by surprise. It's pretty disturbing to think of a body being underneath all of these mats, but if you think about the way that all of this stuff has been layered on top of this practice that's pretty pure in at its core, then that's how I think about how different versions, different subcultures, how they've piled up all of their interests on top of this really pure practice. They've really taken it a million different directions, and so I'm hoping that this kind of starts that kind of visual for the viewer. This show comes directly out of my interest in how capitalism takes a thing and then just completely warps it and repackages it as a brand new thing that then in turn becomes inaccessible to the people whose it originally belonged to. It's really sad to know that the group of people whose this practice comes from are so removed from it because of the way it has been handled and repackaged and commodified for this gaze.